What's going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
Michael.
Stefan.
Welcome back to ComixKings, or welcome back to the kingdom. Welcome if this is your first time here. Make sure you guys support the channel. Give it a like, subscribe if you are new. Definitely make sure you do hit that thumbs up. That's what keeps the lights on in this little basement of ours. But welcome back to another episode of Archives. This is our kind of deep dive comic book review show where you're going to see different people. You're going to see some returning faces, such as Link, such as Bryce, Brian. But we got a new person here. Michael, what's going on, brother?
Hello, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Michael is on TikTok and Instagram. All of his links are in the description below, along with Stefan and all the other members of the PCP Army Bad Batch, which that is pretty cool news that we got going on today. I'm officially part of the crew. There we go.
Nice.
Yes,
nice.
sir. But make sure you guys give them a follow, interact with their content, because they know their books and they have a lot of fun with them, and they wouldn't be here if I didn't trust them. So that's even more reason. But Link, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I actually just finished reading this right before I joined up with you guys, so I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah, me too. I was like half asleep when I read it, but I'm like, I have enough knowledge about it. We are going to be talking about Shang-Chi. This is by Gene Luen Yang and Tik Ruan and Philip Tan, who is part of the art crew. This is the first kind of remodeling of the character. So for you guys to get a little bit of history on Shang-Chi as a character, you can definitely check out the Creators Corner interview I had with Steve Englehart, the creator. And then you would know that this character was more of an ambitious drive in Marvel with Shang-Chi and Jim Starlin, because Englehart really wanted to bring in martial arts into the Marvel universe, especially with all the kung fu movies going on, and all that at the time was very heavy. So they brought in Shang-Chi, and they did their research for what was known at the time. Obviously, we have a lot more information now, but then as soon as they got a few issues in, that's when Englehart went to Avengers, and Steve and Starlin ended up going towards his Thanos story, which, you know, if they didn't leave the book, would we have Infinity Gauntlet? No. But that's kind of the brief history. Doug Mensch ended up taking over the character, but Shang-Chi has really been just a side character since really 1974 when he was first created, but now he's kind of going into the forefront of the Marvel universe. The movie was phenomenal. Go check it out if you guys have not already.
Definitely.
That movie was completely badass. So many.
It became one of my top three. Seriously, best origin. It was phenomenal.
It was. Link, how'd you enjoy it?
I thought it was excellent. I like that it stood on its own. I mean, it did reference a few things to other Marvel movies, but for the most part, it was its own movie, and I respected that a lot. It was fun. It was an adventure.
100%. It definitely was an adventure. It kind of tied in. There were things that I didn't like, but that's up for you guys to decide what you liked, what you didn't like when you go check that out. We're here to talk about the book again by Gene Luen Yang, who you can you probably know his name. He's a household name in comics. He is the writer of Superman Clash of Clans, which is fine. New 52, Savage Dawn. He did with Superman. He did some action comics here and there. And he is currently doing Batman and Superman, which I believe Ivan Reis is doing the art.
Yes.
And that one's like
definitely.
Yes, 100%. So that's kind of the backstory on Shang-Chi as a character, kind of what the creative team has been up to going into the book. So what this book is basically doing is reinventing the character, saying, okay, we're not making Shang-Chi a side character anymore. We're just going to dive deep and tell a new tale that's going to be very new reader friendly. However, I didn't feel like that was the case being a newer Shang-Chi reader. Like I've read him in Secret Avengers. I've read him in Heroes for Hire from Civil War. I've read some of his classic stuff, but this was not as user-friendly to me.
Yeah. I think anyone can pick this up. I think this was a story that is I wouldn't say simple. Anyone can really pick this up without having to know anything going in. It really kind of explains a decent amount to try to jump in. But yeah, it's not that very deep. It doesn't really have a lot. It didn't grab me as much. but I did like it. I thought it was a very fun story. And it's definitely setting up a lot. It's definitely universe building in the fact that Shang-Chi's universe. I think it's really building and it's putting him at the center of this big Shang-Chi universe and things that he's going to be interacting with going forward in the Marvel universe, the comic Marvel universe.
Right. I think it was and like you said, it was a fun, if serviceable. I think the art helped elevate a lot of it. The art's got a great energy. Well, specifically the present day, the Dike Ruan,
I think.
Ruan.
I know he's watching, so he's gonna correct us in the chat.
I apologize for the butchering. But it's got a good energy to it. It's like Stuart Immonen mixed with like Olivier Coipel. Did I say that right?
Oh, I love both those guys. Those are good references. I like it.
Right.
I did like how the what was it, the weapons, the 5 Weapons Society. I like that concept, the idea of it. The idea that Shang-Chi's father was what do you want to call it?
Heavily influential.
Yes.
So when before going into this book, an important factor to know about Shang-Chi's history is that him and his father were inseparable enemies because they were so close together, but yet very far apart. That's one of my favorite dynamics in comics is their relationship, because how can you fight someone you're supposed to love? And I think that question was very present in what Doug Mensch did when he took over the book, but also what was established by Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin at the time. Okay, so Shang-Chi is the son of Zhu Zhang, who is basically an evil, I wouldn't say a crime lord, but he wants to create kind of his culture, his society around him and around his many weapons so that they can remain in secret, but also noted. Think of like the League of Assassins. That's something that this character is very much reminiscent to me of Ra's al Ghul, but except his offspring is right at his side and making babies with Batman and not going against him.
That's one way to do it. Yeah,
that's one way to do it. That's one way to betray your father.
Yeah.
But no, Shang was supposed to be the heir, right? Now, keep in mind, Zhu Zhang had many children, but Shang was the most talented, the most gifted. But Shang didn't want to have that legacy because he's a good guy. He's not evil. Screw that kind of life. So that's a very important factor to go in. There's a society called the 5 Weapons Society, and we're dealing with this governor. We get a little bit of a flashback to open up the story of the father and his brother kind of taking over the place, saving them from saving this village from a dragon that the homeowners, the villagers, the regular villagers did not take into account that they were living next to a dragon. So I guess they use their magic and their kung fu because they're very much intertwined to fight Fin Fang Foom, who I never like reading Fin Fang Foom books because not only is it like a complete waste of time to draw such a character in a book, but also I just don't like the name. I just don't like Fin Fang Foom simply because
just bring him in if they need. He's their big go-to monster, right? Obviously, and even if they kill him, like he's an alien. He's not even a real dragon. He's this alien being that even if you kill him, his spirit is reincarnated in something else, and then grows back into being Fin Fang Foom again. So he's always going to be there, and so like currently I think he's a good guy now.
He was just in Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, I mean, the Avengers talked to him or something. Like
I'm not reading that.
Something happened.
Or Aaron's Avengers.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Fin Fang Foom fan either, to be honest with you. I think he's just like this big villain cop out. He's just someone they will throw in like, oh, here's a starter villain, and we need to get the team fighting first to start the story off or something.
Yeah, because when a dragon shows up, shit's gonna get real.
Yeah, it's gonna go down. Yeah, so I agree.
I think my favorite iteration of the character was an Old Man Quill when he came in with like a old dragon mustache. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be cool if Marvel tried to do something with Fin Fang Foom, but I don't know what you would do. I think he's pretty much like tapped out story wise, maybe. But
also
with some talent coming, that'd be great.
what artist wants to draw 32 pages of Fing Fang Foom?
I mean, yeah,
Draw portions of them.
Draw kind of like how Ivan Reis is doing that Batman Superman book, just across the screen like this.
Yeah, just make him huge. Make the panel huge. Like he's just that's all you see him in the background, and the superheroes are flying through each panel, and then the back
is each like section of Fing Fang Foom a panel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting. I don't want
it. Just let it out.
But anyway, so the warriors, and each one of these warriors each have a different skill set. Like one has a sword, one has like a bow staff, the other one has like a daggers, the other one has their fist. So that's really setting up the society like the swords, because each sword is basically is going to be in a different part of the world, like an important part of the world. Like you got one in Russia, France, the UK.
Yeah.
I don't think they have one in America. Almost in Maryland, America.
But Japan.
Japan. Yeah, but we'll get into that now. After the deaths of like the original 5, right, it went down to their offsprings, right? Because in Asian culture, family is very much important, especially like when they pass on, their legacy still lives with you throughout like each dynasty. So family is very important, and it's very interesting to study, especially as a martial artist. So if you guys do have the time to do so, I would highly recommend it. Family is a very important aspect of this book. That's why it's basically, it says it in the title. It's family. It's all about family. It's all about building Shang-Chi's family. Yeah, so we get a little bit of a flashback of how Shang-Chi retelling his origin. Okay, the father's favorite son, Shang-Chi, didn't like him, and they fought it out, and Shang-Chi won, and Shang-Chi's the best fighter. Got it?
He is.
So the sister, who is our Sister Hammer in this book, really, she's in charge. She's in Russia, so the Hammers, they are, that sounded weird, in Russia, kind of being over there, and she wanted to be the leader. Now, when it is time for a new leader, it'll glow. Like there's this there's like a, was it not a temple? It's like a temple. Yeah, it's it's like a shrine, right? And the shrine will like highlight which weapon will be the leader next.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the Hammers of Fist. Shang-Chi is the master of the fist, right? Kind of like Cobra Kai.
Yeah. very similar to Cobra Kai, yes.
The way of the fist.
No, the story actually, now I'm thinking about it, the story actually reminds me, with the Weapons Clan kind of thing, like it reminds me very much of, Jeff Lemire did a very similar thing with Green Arrow when he was on Green Arrow with Andre Sorrentino, where he also had a Weapons Clan thing, and Oliver Queen didn't realize that he was part of the Bow Clan, right? Right. And then Katana was the leader of the Sword Clan, and so like it has a very, very similar feel, and that's kind of like what I'm gonna just remind me out of nowhere. So I think that's really, really, really cool kind of tie back to.
Right. Yeah. My issue with these first few pages, especially with that flashback, is the beauty of Marvel Comics is there's always like going to be that blurb at the beginning of a book, kind of recapping the character's origin and like saying, this is where we are. And they do it in all the Shang-Chi issues. Why didn't you just put that over there, save yourself a few pages to add kind of more lore and depth? Because if you want to create a new character, right, give them that fresh breath of air without retconning everything you're trying to get away from. To me, that's just, in a limited series, that to me is a waste of time. This is a 5-issue miniseries, so you can totally read this on their own. The reason why I could see it confusing for newer readers to the character is because it takes so much time to retcon everything that they're just like, I don't know, Gene Luen Yang is trying to throw a middle finger to it or trying to homage it, because I know they're trying to create Shang-Chi as his own character now and revamping him just under the same name. But,
I mean,
they were trying to do a lot with set up a lot of new mythology within this 5-issue miniseries.
That's what I was talking about. He's building this whole new Shang-Chi universe, right? Where he's now the center of it. But reading back, even like in the past like 20 years, Shang-Chi, like I'm thinking back in the Affinity storyline with Hickman, Like Shang-Chi was in space for a second too. Like he's very much like this character that'll come in and be like, "Yo, guys," to the Avengers, he'll show up and be like, "Yo, don't screw up anymore. I don't want to come in and fix your business." Like, you know, he's been very much on the sidelines. He kind of does his own thing.
Yeah.
And now that Shang-Chi's in the movie successful, and I think Disney and Marvel saw that coming, and so they're really pushing him now, and I guarantee we're going to see him so much more of him coming up. They had to kind of revamp a little bit to make him more of a team-friendly kind of player, because his past stuff, he really wasn't. I mean, he's on the New Agents of Atlas as well, so like him on there kind of, and that came out a couple years ago too.
Right, by Greg Pak.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised we didn't get any Jimmy Woo in this book. Spoiler. But anyway, Sister Hammer wants to take over all the clans because she's pissed. She wants to rule with an iron fist, which is kind of pun intended in this story. But no one honors her leadership or the fact that she wants to be a leader. So she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go find my brother." But all the other clans or all the other kind of sects of the society find him first, which kind of give us. Kind of bring us there. And Shang-Chi is in America. He's at this older lady shop on the market in San Francisco, Chinatown. Her name is Grandma Wang. And he's helping her out in a restaurant, which is great. I love this part of the dialogue the most, because to me this was the where we got to know Shang-Chi the most and kind of his character, where he's just trying to be the best person he can be and help out around, and
he just wants to live a simple life, you know?
Right, similar to what we saw in the movie, except he's not a taxi driver. He's not a valet parker. But Grandma Wang was a fun character, and the dialogue in here was very thoughtful, and this is like the biggest strength of the book, is when Yang is creating these kind of character moments that drive the narrative forward. And even though they're just making me hungry throughout these few pages, like I said, you really try to get to know Shang-Chi and his character, and this is what I appreciated the most. This girl comes in who is Grandma Wang's niece, and she's a lawyer, so Shang-Chi's like, "Oh shit."
Hey there, Delilah.
Yeah, her name's Delilah. Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in San Francisco? New York City, San Francisco at this point, right? But she gives him her number, and then Shang-Chi notices that there's someone on the rooftop who is kind of a blast from the past. This is where I was getting at, where I didn't like the retcon. It was a Leiko Wu. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Leiko Wu?
I was wondering how you pronounce that as well. So.
Her backstory, she was originally Shang-Chi's partner throughout the original run, and she was actually killed by Shang-Chi's, not by Shang-Chi's father. She was killed by, I believe it was the Living Tribunal.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
From back then. Let me see I think she was, she was probably killed by Living Tribunal. I know she was an important part of that run then, but she disappeared and she was later revived. No, was she she was captured by the Midnight Sun, and she was executed by someone else, but she was brought back by the Living Tribunal. I think that's what it is. It's been a minute, but since I've read that, as you guys probably could tell, but she's back, and Shang-Chi's kind of not happy to see her, but she knows because she was a spy what's going on. Sure. And she goes to tell Shang-Chi what's going on, and these assassins show up and they have to fight. Now, this is where I think the art really carried, especially with the layouts just being so bombastic and so kind of three-dimensional, which I really appreciated. And then they asked the assassins are like, "Wait, are you the son of Zhu Zhang?" And
real quick, I love the part before the assassins jumped in where they're talking and she's trying to speak in was it Mandarin or Cantonese?
Yeah, they're talking in Mandarin.
And she's like, "Yo, it's awful. Why you can just speak in English?" And so she's like, your
Oh,
English
modern
is kind
Cantonese.
of
Sorry, modern
modern
Cantonese. Modern
Cantonese.
Cantonese.
And she's kind of like, yo, your English is not awful, but she's like, you speak like a fortune cookie. Like, why you talk like that? And then he like breaks it down like it's intentional. I thought that was a cool little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Right, and if you look at that, that's like that's kind of a show that a lot of Asian Americans face in this country. Is do they talk in their native language? How modern is it, or do they talk in English, but that can be a little bit broken? And unfortunately, there are a lot of ignorant people out there in the world who judge them for that. So I guess like they try to make it work the best they can um as fluent English speakers, right? Obviously, we all started not speaking proper English. When you start speaking a language, you're not going to speak proper English. When I started speaking Spanish, some people thought I was speaking Italian or some
For
whatever
all
thing.
the
But
people who make fun of people with broken English, you gotta think they can speak multiple languages. You
I
can
know. I
just
never
saying,
understand that.
so,
I never understand it either. Why are you making fun of like this? They can speak more languages than you. Like
right. That makes them
they're
smarter. But
that's more impressive than you. What are you
that's
doing?
that's more impressive than some people. Some English speakers can't even speak the one.
I know exactly. I never understood that.
I'm
That's always
sorry, but like, have you heard American rap nowadays? It's like all mumble jumble, and I actually need to pull up the lyrics to understand what they're saying, and that's English.
Sad but true.
Sad but true. Exactly, and that's for all American music nowadays. It's just like, what do you say?
I want to kind of mention too about with Shang-Chi. Like, I want to make sure that if people are getting into Shang-Chi, like how impressive this character is in the all Marvel universe as a whole, right? Like you have people like Thor, you have people like Captain America, Iron Man, you have all these big hitters. Shang-Chi doesn't have like powers, right? He's the world's greatest martial artist, and he stands face to face with characters like Thor and be like, move, kind of like like it doesn't matter. Like he is so impressive as a character, and I'm very happy that Marvel is like taking him seriously finally. Because I mentioned John Hickman's Avenger run a while ago during this Infinity storyline where he went to space, and a lot of people were like, "Why is Shang-Chi in space with that? Like this is ridiculous." And he just stands face to face with these big alien creatures and just takes them down no problem. Moves. He's like, "You were in my way. You were in my way." But back to like he wants like this humble life. And he's like, things are going on. No one's doing anything properly for it. Let me take them out so we can get this done. And so I love Shang-Chi when he comes in and does this because he literally just comes in, gets them out, and he's out. He's not talking to anybody. He's not making friends. He's like, you guys are not doing your job. I can do it. Obviously, anyone else should be. You guys aren't, but I guess I have to. And here we go. And he's one of the most impressive characters in Marvel for that for that aspect. And I love that. So any new readers from Shang-Chi, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that this book did that. They picked up on that a little bit. I liked when he decided, which we're going to get to right now, when he decided, okay, maybe I do need to go back. The different kind of heads of the houses came in to recruit him after fighting. They're like, oh, wait, you're Shang-Chi. We're looking for you, but we attacked you first. And they explained the situation to him. And again, they could have, Yang could have kind of debunked a little bit of this dialogue because it got a little too verbose. Like we already know the history. You just explained it to us. All you need to do is say, let's go. So Shang-Chi.
They were some of the more enjoyable characters though. Brother Saber and Sister Dagger. They're like the comedic relief.
Yeah, they were. And these different characters had that dynamic. But again, I kind of felt like some of it was lost because they're trying, especially in this first issue alone, because they're trying to bring this character back, catch you up on everything that's happened, and retconning. My biggest issue is really the retcons. I feel like if they put that at the beginning of the book, everything else would have flowed much better, and we would have. And as a reader, it's like, okay, you want me to know this, so I'm going to be focused on this aspect of the book, which is his history, his father. His family dynamic, but now you're introducing these characters who are brand new to everybody. So like that's very distracting. That was a very distracting aspect of this book. So not only are we learning about Shang-Chi, but we're learning about all these newer characters as well, and trying to remember history that that didn't really need to be in there at the beginning. It could have just been editorially put in the beginning, like most books are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad they like. I like those other characters and they were funny. Like, but I kind of agree, Brandon. Like I'm actually hoping they do stick around
Right.
longer and they can dive more into them. I keep mentioning like the whole big Shang-Chi universe now. Like now that we're establishing this, like I'm hoping we kind of see more of that, the history of all the weapons and where each one. I like the power move. Like I'm kind of looking forward to hoping like they're friends, but kind of like frenemies a little bit. Like I will gladly take you out to be in charge, but I'll work with you for now, kind of thing. Like I'm hoping to see more of that moving forward too.
Right.
Have you guys read Immortal Iron Fist?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All the different weapons for the cities, they weren't revealed right away, and that was like cool concept. I mean, maybe it's just how it was executed, but you don't necessarily have to introduce all the retcons immediately because they were retcons themselves.
Right.
I mean, I kind of disagree with you in this aspect that you can. Maybe it's just how he did it, but I don't think you necessarily have to introduce retcons right away just to
get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say like introduce retcons, but like if you look at the beginning of every Amazing Spider-Man story, what does it do? It recaps kind of the origin, and this is where he is now. That's what they should have did going into this book, rather than saying, "Oh, this is everything you need to know," kind of in the middle of the book about his family, but then bringing in a cast of characters which have their own rich history to it. So it's like you're kind of doing yourself more damage to your book. And it's a limited series. How do you make up for that? You got to write more bubbles. You got to give the readers more to like kind of conversate about.
Always more bubbles. Got to get the more bubbles.
Yeah, you got to get more bubbles. You can make your letterer work. But anyway, Sister Hammer,
come on.
So Sister Hammer finds out, and Shang-Chi understands that in his sister's mind, their father is still very much alive in a sense, or their father is very much present in their present day life. So Shang-Chi's like, I have to save my sister. She's like, oh, I got to kill my brother. So we introduce the plot within the first issue. So it's going to be, okay, these characters are going to meet eventually. This is how they're going to do it. Which brings us right over to here, Brothers and Sisters Part 2. That's the name of this arc. And we start out with introducing the world of Zhang Zhu's kind of retreat, his castle, whatever you want to call it, his home. His home. And this is actually translated from ancient Mandarin, so there are a lot of language jumps in what they're doing, and you're recapping the relationship between Shang-Chi and his sister and how they walked in and they saw dead bodies to a room where they weren't supposed to be in, and the father comes in and takes the daughter away, shaves her head because she was her mother's daughter, not the father's. So she was more like a half sibling in a sense. She's more of a half sibling. So the father like completely rejects it. That's why Shang-Chi's the favorite, is because he's pure blooded between the both of them. He's like 100% that guy's son. 100% pure Zhang's son. So he takes her away, and Shang wasn't happy about it because they really like understood each other. I would say that's what we're learning from this. This moment just really sets up, kind of like gives Shang-Chi like a lot of conflict. She's like, yeah, we were so close, but now she's back and she wants to kill me. But I have to save her without her killing me. So this is a very simple plot. We've seen it in comics before. We're going to continue to see that kind of family dynamic in comics, and how you got to save each other, you got to look out for each other. But one's the friend, one's an enemy. So they're flying in, and Shang-Chi gets to the compound, and they eventually meet up, and they hug it out. They eat dinner. They share a moment, and she kind of tells him how she went to Russia, how she came back, and what she's doing. And she's the champion there. She wants to be the ruler because she thinks that that's her destiny, but it landed on the hand. So she's like, I don't care. I'm going to be a stubborn bitch about it, and you're going to go down in 25 minutes if you don't yield.
Yeah, I like the dynamic between them, especially kind of relating both to their father, right? like she is in a sense trying to follow their father's footsteps, where Shang-Chi is trying to avoid it completely, right?
Right.
And so that kind of duality to their relationship, well, I think adds quite a bit to them, because at the same time you also get a sense like they should be kind of together, like as in like being like a family. He wants to follow in that footsteps, that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, their father's it's all about their father, whether they both wanted to or not, right? And so like their family dynamic is kind of what drives both of them in very dramatically different ways. So I thought that was a really fun character.
Yeah. They kind of mentioned that throughout the series, like balance, the yin and yang. And
Totally.
Right. So she retcons. She's mad at the fact that Shang-Chi was there when the father died. So Shang-Chi is getting accused of killing his father in Secret Avengers number 10 by Ed Brubaker. However, he was really just there when he died. If you guys want to go read that, there's a great subscription called Marvel Unlimited. Not sponsored at all, although maybe one day. But as they're kind of getting to this argument, because Shang-Chi's like, yeah, I don't want any part of this. I don't know why I was chosen. I didn't kill him. I was there, but I didn't kill him. And he gets poisoned, kind of like during dinner. Yeah, eating his favorite snack. And that leads to one of my favorite pinups. I could think that it calls a pinup where, oh, that's my ring light. You see his father with like a skull, but like still wearing it, with Shang-Chi like right in the center of his chest, which is like, okay, that really symbolizes their relationship in one shot.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a power. First off, the art is phenomenal in that.
Oh yeah.
That one piece, and that full page piece is just amazing, and so that alone just kind of drives that kind of home. But the symbolism behind everything was just really solid.
I didn't think about that until you said it, but it is very symbolic about, like, no matter what he does, his father, stuff to do with his father always finds its way back to him, and it's like he tries to distance himself so much, but he can't escape it. So it's like it's all encompassing,
Right.
So that's really cool.
And eventually Shang-Chi's gonna have to face that and get over it. Honestly, I think that's the only way the character's ever gonna like excel into his own right, is if he gets away from his father, just that looming aspect. Cause it's gonna get boring after a while, and it's gonna get old. But what this book does a very good job of is distancing itself, but still keeping that major plot point from the 70s ever so present. So Shang-Chi wakes up, and the nurses who are tending his aid and stitching him up, they're just like, your father's dead, bro. What are you doing? And Shang just like rips out of like everything, just like just muzzles it out. And I'm like, people forget how strong this guy is. In order just to like survive in the Marvel universe, off your fists, they gotta be conditioned. You gotta be fit to take anything.
He's ready to go, man.
He was just like ready to fight. And like he's seeing and then these people, like, they come in, they have like the same light on the forehead that the sister did, and these are like kind of the sister's minions. The what?
Yeah, vampires. They're like
yeah, they're like vampires.
Fun little fact: the artist to this, before this, he did this mini series called "Bleed Them Dry" with Elliot Rejo, and it dealt with vampires. So that was a cool little homage to.
Who put that out?
I want to say it was Bolt.
Really? Okay, cool.
Bolt Comics.
I like it.
But anyway, Shang-Chi blacks out again after fighting, and he wakes up on a boat with with another part of the clan, like another aspect of it, to end the issue. And the father's over on the horizon saying, come visit. So Shang-Chi's kind of being forced to go back there and to go back to his father, but he's trying to distance himself. That panel right there at the end was again a great representation of where Shang-Chi is at with himself, because he wants to get away, but he also can't.
Right? That's a huge thing of his character. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Like, that's kind of a big essence of Shang-Chi and where he's going. You kind of can see it, and he knows it too. That's the frustrating part for everybody, not just the audience reading it, but for him as well. He wants to. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be in the shadow of his father. He doesn't want to be anything like him at all, but he's there. Like, no matter what he's doing, he's always there. So, of course, that's the frustrating part of anything. So he has this little chip on his shoulder throughout his entire life, and it's very prominent in a lot of the books that he's written in. So I'm glad a lot of writers kind of understand that as well, which is really, really cool.
Right. I thought that his story is kind of very reminiscent to Simba and Mufasa, and the fact that, like, Simba's like, well, hear me out. I'm not stupid, at least not yet. But Shang-Chi is blamed for his father's death, and he's tried to escape that, right? If you remember the song, I just can't wait to be king, right? But then you see Simba distancing himself from all of that at the end when he's like leaving, right? To me, but he ends up going back. To me, if you like Lion King, you're gonna find a lot of similarities in this book.
The motivations are different, though. Simba,
the motivations are different, but it's
manipulated into thinking he killed his dad, or his dad's death was his fault, while Shang-Chi could not really care less.
He didn't have that same guilt on his heart.
Yeah.
I can't wait to be king either, though.
Hence the name.
Hence the name, ComixKings.
It is.
I don't need to start singing for you guys. I wonder if we put that up there, if YouTube would like take it down. But we get another flashback. So this story is always starting out with a flashback, and we get to know kind of like how some of the different kingdoms, or not kingdoms, but some of the different sects kind of got started, how the Five Weapon Society, they were kind of a part of the Imperial Chinese Army, and kind of had their hand in that. Well, I'm sorry, Link? Did you say something? Oh, I thought you said something. But we end up, this really starts seeing kind of like the villainry of Zhu Zhang, and just like how he has no remorse for everyone around him, going in this book, which again is just getting to know this villain. It takes up the first 7 pages. To me, I don't think it was necessary, but you can kind of see why Shang-Chi is not excited that this guy is his father. He's not totally thrilled by the other guys. Cut me off if I'm misspeaking, if you want to add anything.
Oh yeah, he's an a-hole. He kind of, just because, you know, they really emphasized that at the beginning. I mean, I guess they were just, maybe that's what the whole setup was for, them trying to emphasize what a jag the dad is. Like, you know,
he is, yeah.
His lieutenant failed to protect a shrine, and he got rewarded. I mean, it wasn't his fault, but, you know, he failed and got his head cut off just for failing. So even though he was loyal still, so that shows you he's cutthroat dude.
Right. But what that does, it allows him to establish the different societies across. So you got the House of the Deadly Hand, which is in China, the House of the Deadly Staff in England, the House of the Deadly Hammer in Russia, the House of the Deadly Saber in Japan, and then the House of the Deadly Dagger in France. So those are kind of all the working pieces. But what I like about this book, it provides you with the characters at the start of the issue. So like, okay, here are the characters: Shang-Chi, Brother Saber, Sister Dagger, Sister Hammer, and Zhang Zhu. Those are kind of your working pieces.
Yeah, totally. That's the team. That's a new team. Yeah, that's the team.
That's the team. Kind of they did that in War of the Realms, which is great. And I love when Marvel does that, because they always use so many characters. It's harder to keep up with, so it just helps with the formatting of this book.
They do. They love that. Marvel loves putting all these characters. I mean, we mentioned new Agents of Atlas too, right? There's so many team members on that book, and they're all brand new. Like that first issue, first off, is like the first appearance of like five characters. Yeah. Like, Marvel loves to stack their books with as many characters. You like this guy? Cool. You like this guy? Cool. Come on, guys. They're all in one book for you. Enjoy. Right. So that's kind of the thing. But I like that. I like the little Shang-Chi team that there's going on right now. And I don't know. I'm really hoping this character does a lot more universe stuff, because I see that obviously they're gonna bring him into the big MCU, right? But I'm hoping in the 616 comic universe, he has a kind of a bigger important role. I've been waiting for Shang-Chi to kind of do something like this for a very long time. I've been a pretty big fan of his for a while, and I see this being a big thing. So this seems like this the story and how he's more important now in the fact that like he has a form of leadership, and that I hope that translates more into like other aspects of the Marvel universe as well. So I think that this is a really cool kind of start to some really cool Shang-Chi stories. So.
Right. But right now it's like in the book it's like, oh, we're gonna have a conversation, oh, we're gonna fight. We're gonna have a conversation, oh, we're gonna fight. Oh, petty argument.
Setting up the lore, man.
I'm like, oh, petty arguments. Let's hash them out by trying to kill each other. Great, good job.
How else are comic Marvel characters going to interact with each other? How are they going to get anything done without a good fight break in between their conversations?
Right.
Yeah, that's what they do, man. Like I wish it wasn't. It was just more. But then you have a boring book. You gotta have some action, and he's a martial artist, so gotta show that on.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're talking. The girl with the dagger. So Sister Dagger and brother Saber. They're having their conversation. Shang-Chi is obviously injured by the Jiangshi. That's what they're officially called, which we didn't know until the issue later that they did. It's like, oh, by the way, guys, this is their name. I would have loved to know that when I was talking about it before, but what this kind of poisoning is doing, it's giving him those visions of his father, again with the skull, and he's just like pointing at the shrine. He's like, just push it, and he's like, just push it. So Shang-Chi goes in there, and they don't like it. What?
You discovered there was a shrine behind the shrine. Yeah,
shrine of a shrine. So what we really learn from this is that Shang-Chi has a lot to really learn about his history going forward. And so the sister, so he ends up finding the sister again, and she sends her minions after them. They fight, and it turns out that Shang-Chi has to go learn more about his uncle in order to really help the situation, which that's again issue 4. It's just continuing the same stuff. That was issue 3, rather. That was issue 3. And in issue 4, we're just going to explore more of the mythos to Shang-Chi. Michael, if you wanted to talk about this issue.
About which one?
Issue number 4.
Sure. I mean, I like the... sorry, I read them in Singlish a little bit ago, so I'm trying to... How does the issue start out?
So the issue starts out with a flashback to the Henan province of China, and this one's translated from ancient Mandarin, and Fing Fang Foom is chained up, or not. That's not Fing Fang Foom.
No, that's a guardian.
That's a guardian that looks like Fing Fang Foom. I'm sorry, the head threw me off.
With human hands.
With human hands.
Well, doesn't make it less creepy at all.
It does not make
Dragons with thumbs is always awesome.
But we're now in London with the deadly hands of England is the staff. So England is the deadly staff, the house of the deadly staff. So the sister's there, and she's really just tending to her men. Meanwhile, we see another fight break out with again that little the guardian in chains, and Shang-Chi is trying to get in there so he can study the history of his uncle, which we're dealing with, and apparently his uncle called him there.
He found out the ghost that he thought was his dad was really his uncle.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes, it was his Obi-Wan Kenobi. So he arrived in Dagobah and
Thank you. Yes, now I'm seeing that every time. I did not make that connection, but yeah, it's definitely his Obi-Wan.
I'm seeing that on that. So now we learn what the uncle did back then and how the uncle really diverted, and how they learned their magic, but the uncle was always like on the better side than the father, because the father is just pure evil. and how they ended up saving a village. And this art's done by Philip Tan, which this is probably the worst Philip Tan artwork I've ever seen him do.
It's always very shadowy, man.
Yeah.
He used to be so much cleaner though.
Really?
Yeah, compared to like his other work,
Did you read his Green Lantern run and with Larfleeze?
I did.
That's pretty shadowy.
This is more. I don't know. I don't think the inking did him any favors in this little flashback, especially this issue. But that's the thing is sometimes like Philip Tan doesn't always get the best inkers or best colorists. In the early 2000s, he had Danny Mickey, I think, who's doing most of his inks then. Which Danny Mickey made everyone look good. He could even make Greg Land actually look like a real artist. Sorry.
Did he ink End Song? Oh, you didn't read that. Dang it! I gotta look that up.
Oblivion Song?
X-Men End Song.
End Song.
It was Greg Pak and Greg Land.
Yeah.
But it's like the only time that and the Mark Miller Ultimate Fantastic Four one. And those are like the only select few times I really enjoy Greg Land work. You know, like the tracing.
The tracing part, yeah. I don't know. You're talking about his because he did Ultimate Powers too.
Yes, yeah.
He did Ultimate Powers, which was around very similar time. I don't know. I see your point. I definitely do. I'm not trying to defend Greg Land. Yeah, it's about to sound like I'm about to defend Greg Land, but I'm not. I don't know. I enjoy reading Greg Land's looking at Greg Land's art. I actually liked him on Uncanny X-Men when he was doing X-Men for a minute. He did X-Men for a minute. Yeah, with Fraction.
That was a hit or miss for me. That was up or down. Like I think he it started off well because I know there was like the early 500s.
Yeah.
But it was like by the time Gillian came on, I was like, I don't know. It's like it was hit or miss for me. He's hit or miss. He's not bad.
He did good on the last few issues of Greg Pak's Hulk.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
That was good. I don't like him on Symbiote Spider-Man and what they're doing then because I'm like, you and Peter David writing back in a time where he did a lot of great work that no one's read. Which was fantastic. Greg Land wrote in the 80s. He wrote Spectacular Spider-Man. Go back and read it. It's phenomenal. Probably the best chameleon story you're ever gonna read.
His X Factor
was great. His Hulk was great, but no one talks about his Spectacular Spider-Man. But anyway, Greg Land, huh?
No one does. Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah.
But Greg Land now is coming on this book, and I'm like, oh, I'm down for 100%.
See,
until Greg Land, I'm like, God damn it.
Okay. You know what? I will defend him. Like his early stuff I like his early stuff. Nightwing, and when he was
we were talking about that earlier, Link.
Batman 1 million.
Yeah. When he was like his 90s stuff into like maybe a little bit early 2000s as well. Like that stuff was pretty good. Like that was good. That was pretty classic comic book art. Like that was pretty solid. And then he gets pretty like line heavy going forward, right? And very much trying to be this like
pin up guy. He's like, I'm gonna pin everything up and nothing else matters. Like,
no,
stop.
Very posy. A lot of his characters were very, very posy, and especially his female characters. And so like,
he is the expert on drawing females.
He knows what he's doing. But yeah.
Anyways. Back to the book. So we have this flashback, and we're learning about the uncle, and there's a line in here that I really like that the uncle says. Let me just look it up real quick. That is why you cannot abandon your awful, beautiful wounds, Shang-Chi. Not yet, at least. They will lead you to what you truly need. To me, that was like the most powerful quote in this book. Sure. Especially like the way that Yang uses the word beautiful. I thought was because like, you can look at wounds as they hurt, but what do they represent?
Right.
Like, what does Shang-Chi, I'm going to keep correcting myself, man. What does Shang-Chi's wounds represent in the big picture of his character, right? They represent, he's had wounds from conditioning to be the martial artist he is. He's had his family wounds out the wazoo, arguably.
He had daddy issues, for sure.
Yeah, he had a lot of daddy issues. It's not like he didn't have like any Uncle Ben issues, no guilt trip, but he had a very toxic relationship that sprung out for years. Not trying to diminish Uncle Ben, R.I.P. But
but
definitely had a rough life. He had a hard knock life, in the words of Jay-Z.
I think it was symbolic of the fact that he had stuff he was supposed to deal with, confront, that he keeps trying to always run away from, and he's like, you gotta embrace those wounds. Like, it might, because that's why he's trying to run away. He doesn't. That stuff reminds him of pain. It stuff he doesn't like. So he's like, you gotta embrace that. Take it head on to move on. That's kind of how I took it.
No, totally. Right. I completely agree with that. Yes, he's running away, but he's running away from a pain that's constantly chasing him. Like, there's no getting away from Shang-Chi's kind of like past. Like, when we're talking about other heroes and their past, like, a lot of it stays there. Like, death of Uncle Ben, right? Tony Stark's alcoholism, right? A lot of it stays there. It's molded them, but it stays there. Where Shang-Chi's past and problems consistently are up in his face, going, "Hey, what's up?" Like, I'm still here, and it wants him. See, that's a different thing too. It's not trying to change him or do anything. It's just like, yo, you got to come back. I don't want to. You gotta come. No, and so it's always getting in his face. Like, no, you can't leave. You got to, hey, kind of just dipping and dodging. And that's a whole nother problem. That's so much more layered, which it's an interesting story.
Right.
Yeah, I can appreciate that a lot.
100%, and that's a great point you make. We finished this issue up where Shang-Chi comes back and defeats the Guardian, flying side kicks him right across the jaw, and then they go get some Cliff Bars.
We did find out that the brother sacrificed himself.
All right.
And then sacrificed himself again. The older brother sacrificed himself for the younger brother. And then the younger brother's like, no, you go on, you take care of the family. And so he sacrificed himself for his older brother. And I thought that was interesting. And
now we are back. We're still in London in the last issue of this book. Now everything's leading up to the big showdown. Will Shang-Chi save his sister? Will the sister defeat all the other members of the society? What is the answer? It's right in front of you. But anyway, that's another thing. It's like there are no. My biggest issue with this book, and there are no stakes in this. There's no stakes whatsoever in this book. It's
what do you mean?
So the sister is going up against Brother Saber, Shang-Chi, Brother Hand, a Sister Dagger, Lika Wu, who is pretty badass, and the other few members of the society, and that's very outnumbering for someone who never had a very good stance in the first place, because they never looked to her as the leader because she was never chosen. So to me, it's like, that no matter what happens, right, they're not going to back down from her saying, "I'm ruling you assholes." It's like kind of when Loki and the Avengers, and they just like, that to me, there aren't a lot of stakes, especially for Shang-Chi, because he's gone up against a lot worse. Like, obviously this is personal.
I see your point now. Yeah.
But the stakes in this book are very much
more personal.
Thank you. Yes, of Shang-Chi. Like, I said they're personal, 100%. But the stakes in this book are just not very well written, or like we're not like it's like the whole time it's like, "Hey, you got this in the bag." No, I don't care.
I think as readers who know his character and know that he literally is the greatest fighter in all of Marvel, not just the heroes, like everyone. He's top of the top tier. And so we know and going into this fight, he's like, nah, he's fine. Like, don't worry about it. He's fine. So I'm hoping new readers going in this to be like, have a little more like, will he do it kind of thing. But that's your point. So I agree. There wasn't much stake.
The panel, like, maybe to new readers, they're like, oh snap, is like everyone going to turn into like a vampire?
Oh yeah.
They're just walking down London and
too many Chinese vampires. But she just walks down like she's like the most badass person ever, holding her hammer. Thor could do so much better. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, so that's also
there's a big fight for someone who can't fly. Shang-Chi skydives down, no parachute needed whatsoever, because that's
you've never seen Naruto. I'm just. But
Yeah, no,
this is
they do that, and they just do that.
right.
What do you
The
learn,
high
like, first day
heights,
of
jump
school?
30 feet
It
in the
looks
air.
cool. I'm sorry, but when you're flying down from a freaking helicarrier, freaking plane with no parachute, you're like, you know
It's a
what?
bit like Captain America: Winter Soldier. Did he just
You know
jump
why
out
I
without a
would
chute?
always, you know why I would
Yeah.
always use a parachute? What if it went wrong? You just literally you said, okay, posing is more important than actually like landing and then being safe.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't even know what's up, you know. Like,
You know that I don't
if I
care.
survive this, though, I'm gonna look so cool, you know. Like,
What
Dive
if
right
I
in.
don't?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Make sure you guys look dynamic falling down the sky too.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
When you guys go skydiving, no parachute needed.
Don't
But-
flat on the way down. Then you have to start over. That's where
Right?
you gotta look cool the entire way. No.
Yeah, you gotta stay in pose. But if
Same
I
way.
don't make it,
No.
shit, I'm gonna be on Shaquille O'Neal's next segment of Shaq in a Pool.
Or Deadpool too.
or
Yeah.
Deadpool. I was just gonna make it Deadpool reference. I'm like, no one wants to hear Deadpool reference. Oh my
So
gosh,
Oh my
not to
god.
get off topic, but I thought it was kind of weird because it happens like a page after that. They kind of revealed the vampires, whatever I can't pronounce the name, are kind of like controlled with technology, which is threw me off a little bit.
right. And they're just trying to make it modern, which that's they
I think
try
they
to make
should
it
have kept it
modern.
magical and mystical, you know.
Right. I'm just like, I feel like the moment you mix like magic and technology in comics, just shit goes to hell. And it's like, okay, gotcha.
Unless like that's the focus of it. Like,
Yeah.
I love when storylines, like if we're talking like Iron Man going up against the Mandarin, like he's alien tech based, but when he was first written, it was magic, right? Like the his 10 rings, and so like that I love when it was like it's on purpose. But Brandon, I completely agree with you. If they just randomly throw in, oh yeah, this was tech.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
That's reaction.
I'm
okay,
out of
got
the
it.
story. Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Not really. Like,
Oh,
there are just so many things in this book that just like they threw in with little to no timing.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you're writing these kind of stories, you're writing miniseries, it's all about how can you save time and how can you time manage your scripts? How can you time manage what you're trying to say? When you throw shit in it like this in there, it's like, could you still tell the same story without it being tech central? Yeah. 100%. Right? You didn't like Link said, you didn't, it kind of just throws you off. Kind of just like how they kind of rushed bringing everyone into the story. It just like, as a reader, like, okay, we're doing this. Got it. Fine. I don't care.
Yeah, actually, the whole last issue I was very rushed. Now looking back on it, like we get the reveal about how she's controlling the zombies,
and we see Shang-Chi's infection just getting worse, kind of going up his body like an Iron Man 2.
She can kind of control him.
Yeah, which I guess that's kind of how you dehumanize him, but she swings her baseball bat kind of like Tobey Maguire, not Tobey Maguire, like Kevin Maguire in baseball, or Barry Bonds. She freaking hit him like a home run. Like she comes in, like she's stepping up to the plate and everything. She's like just ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like my ring light. She's like, I'm doing this. She's like, boom, batting cleanup. But they fight. There's this cool background. But everyone's trying to fight Sister Hammer because no one likes her. She touches his forehead, which trips him up, like this guy was like on acid or something, or some kind of drug you're not supposed to be using, like a big no drug. But and then you see the uncle kind of like peering back into his mind, and he's able to like, you have this moment where he's like kind of self-discovering in mid-battle with his sister's hammer in the hand. Yeah. And he's able to like overcome it, which in Kung Fu, if you guys have ever studied Kung Fu, a lot of it is using their chi, which if you look at, okay, so the way Asian martial arts are set up, I know this, I've studied it, I used to teach martial arts. Japanese fighters, right, had a lot longer legs when they were born, typically speaking. So when you look at a lot of their forms or their fighting styles, they're very much focused on utilizing their legs. That's why if you ever see a Japanese sparring match, how they always put one foot, like their foot is always loose and they're always leading in first to the kick. And in their forms, is I see these beautiful kicks because they're able to extend their legs like that, right? That was called karate. If you are a Korean at that time, you're typically like a little bit more built up in the upper body. That's why they're more known in Taekwondo. You see their fighting style is a lot closer and a lot more toe to toe, more so than okay, I'm going to keep you back and kick you. Chinese with Kung Fu, they were more about okay, we are a lot smaller built, so we're going to focus our energy so when we strike, we're able to put everything we have into said punch. So in this bit of the story, Shang-Chi is able to focus his energy, focus his chi to overcome that, which was a great kind of, if you know martial arts history, you'll be able to pick up on that, and how they're able to utilize that part of their body. And again, this is like martial arts dates back many years. So that's just the way it was in their forms. And then you got the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is just a bunch of angry people around on the good mud wrestling, as I call it. There's a lot of mud in it, and they like to play in it. But we, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, overall, back to the Shang-Chi book. Like this one, I liked it. I think this is I've been recommending. I've been selling this like crazy at my shop, and like I keep having to get this in, especially because I like where it leads into the new Shang-Chi storyline that's going on right now. The current one, they haven't come out with the trade yet, because the latest, I think, issue 5 or 6 just came out.
4.
I think it's just 3 right now.
Is it just 3?
I think 4 just came out this past week.
4, yeah. There was a new one that just came out. That book is ridiculously good. I can't wait for the trade for that one. It's Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe.
Right.
I don't like that though. I'm like,
I see where what you're thinking, and that it's just him taking on the Marvel Universe. It's not. It's so much more than that, and I love it. And I love. Anyways, going off topic, but yeah, the book really kind of like.
Yeah. I read the first 2 issues, and I thought it was an anthology, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm just like, this reads like an anthology. Oh, well, he's fighting Captain America. The second issue's fighting this person. I'm like,
yeah,
I've got that. I've got to read that. I've been collecting.
I'm gonna go back and reread it on Unlimited when I get the chance. But totally. Continuing with the story, we kind of get this moment where like they're overshadowed by the father, and we just see that like the father is technically there, like he's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
But he's also not. Like she realized that her father is gone, and she's like, I feel so empty. I'm mad at myself. I'm gonna kill all of you motherfuckers. And I was like, oh, but why? You're just real. I'm
so
just saying,
you're just more of a symbolic thing, like the dad being there. Like
yes, I love that panel, the very bottom one on that page, where he's holding both of them up. Yeah, like
the other one.
Yeah, that one. I like. And then going up to the next page on the top, like he's explaining the two. Like I don't know, I love that whole dichotomy in between the brother and sister, or their family and their friend. But yeah, it's really good. I thank you for bringing that up, man. That's really good. Yeah.
That was a cool panel, and then she's just like,
that makes more sense. I took that as when I first read that. I took that as literal, like he was there. So that makes it better to me actually. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, though, over here. But I don't like the fact how she's like, yeah, I'm stupid and I'm mad at myself, so I'm gonna take it out on you. Like, you suck. Sorry.
Yeah, you would think someone with more like discipline and training wouldn't fly off the handle like that all the time, you know.
But flying off the handle, I mean, she's technically still holding on to it and swinging the handle.
Technically, yeah. You're doing a really good job at it, you know. Like,
but yeah, so. Lou goes, Liko goes to shoot.
Show this off real quick.
Goes to shoot her, and he just snatches it, 2 fingers.
I love that. That just shows how dope Shang-Chi is. Like
he is though. Like, he's scary. He's scary. Like he's like so good. It's terrifying. Like that's what I think a lot of people don't like. Oh yeah, he can just fight really well. No, like it seems like a power. Like that he's so good. Like it has to be a power. No, he's just that good. He's just so badass.
You know what? You know who couldn't do that? Batman. Well, without prep
That
time.
level? No,
Whoa.
what Shang-Chi is? Probably not. Honestly.
Shang-Chi
you
don't
probably-
need prep
I'm a
time.
huge DC fan. Like, I will defend Batman to my dying day, but to Shang-Chi's level, no. It's like comparing him to like Lady
This is
Shiva
better from
or Cassandra Cain in
yeah.
the DC universe, right?
right.
She's leaps and bounds above Batman. Even Batman's afraid to go up against her, right?
Right.
He relies on their friendship. He's like, we're cool, Cassandra. It's awesome. It's okay. I will fight you, but I'm not gonna like it. Like,
Right.
yeah.
And then Shang-Chi goes back to San Francisco because everything's gone. The sister runs away, and Shang-Chi's like, yeah. Goes back to San Francisco, packs his bags, and Grandma Wang, and she's like, yeah, it's okay. I get it, right? And that girl, what was her
granddaughter walks in, Delilah.
The granddaughter, Delilah, walks in, and
I like that moment because she's like, yo, Delilah, and she's like, just straight up like, yo, you never called. Like, okay, that was blunt,
like that was.
She's like, I'm a lawyer.
And he's like, that makes sense. She's like, yeah, but he's like, yeah, you might not blend in with the work I do. She's like, I do superhuman law.
Yeah, because he was like, I just got chased down by some ninjas, and there was vampires involved, and you probably don't want to mess with me. And she's like, my
client was testifying
last
from
case,
the stand, and his head burst into flames.
Yeah. I do superhuman law. I thought that was pretty cool.
Shang-Chi's like, oh, kinky.
She gets me. All right.
Right, yeah.
I feel like if you're a superhero and your significant other gets you like that, you're just like, that is just the biggest turn on ever.
Yeah.
You have to, yeah. You have no other choice but to say.
Nope. He's like, if I like it, he's like, I might not like it, but I'm gonna put a ring on it. Screw you, Beyonce. But
what other choice do I have at this point? Like,
yeah, it's like an arranged marriage.
Gonna marry another superhero? No, of course not.
No. Oh, She-Hulk in the Juggernaut. No.
Chuck Austin, man.
Uncanny X-Men. In a hotel too. I hope they weren't on the top floor.
Right.
If I were underneath,
oh, it did. Yeah, but I'm surprised the floor didn't.
If I were underneath them, I'd ask for my money back. But if you go back and you look at that issue, I think it was like 573 or something. That bed is so small.
They did a very similar thing in. First off, I love the Ultimate Universe a lot. I'm a fan. It's not the greatest thing, but I love it. It's fun. There was a scene with Ultimate Hulk and Zara from Ultimate Powers, and like she's like the Wonder Woman of the Power Supreme, like the Supreme Powers, and they had the very similar like. They kind of her and Hulk kind of hooked up, and the bed was just like ridiculously trashed. And then they went out for pancakes after. So there you go.
There was a spider. I had to skid it away from me real quick.
Oh, good call.
Was it radioactive?
I didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah,
I would.
Put them in different.
No, what I liked is Marvel Infinities, like Infinity in Unlimited.
Yeah, totally.
That Spider-Gwen with Mark Bagley. I was like,
well, Mark Bagley.
I'm like, Mark Bagley drawing Spider-Gwen. Why haven't we had this yet? I was very pleased with the Marvel Infinity line. Check it out, y'all, on Unlimited. But Shang-Chi goes back, and he is the ruler of all of the different like society cliques, members. Yeah. I don't know like the spoken term for that is. Yeah. So. And Shang-Chi's there with his friends, and he's like, "This is a new era, yeah." But we get like a little epilogue.
But he appoints Brother Saber and Sister Dagger leaders of the clan with him. Like what is it like? The three of them.
Right. Yeah, he's the supreme commander. But yeah, they get drunk and they go back to bed. You can tell just because Brother Saber is just like. Wasted. Getting carried by Sister Dagger. He's like, oh my gosh, for somebody that big, you should be able to hold your alcohol. But damn,
I really love this last panel.
Yeah, I was just about to get.
That reminded me of some Naruto straight up, like like when something dawns on a character and it like goes like a negative space, like oh. I just thought that was a cool.
Click. They understand now. The audience understands that they understand. Right. Like, oh shit. Yeah.
Okay, we all understand now. Got it. Good. So that's how we really end the book is the father's like, yeah, you are just like me, motherfucker. And so yeah, that's the book. I would recommend it simply because it's Shang-Chi. I don't think this is the best Shang-Chi story that there will be. I think when we get more Shang-Chi, we're gonna look back and say, wow, this was not up to par.
Yeah.
It's good for now. It's good for now. You know what? I'm gonna say it's readable, it's rushed. I don't think this is Gene Luen Yang's best work. However, he has yet to really put something out on the shows where I'm like, I'm so invested in what you're doing. He just hasn't gotten me like that yet. But I would so recommend it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree. I think this is it's pretty solid Shang-Chi for new readers to kind of jump in and enjoy and get ready. I agree. Get ready for what's to come. Like we're about to get into a lot of probably really good Shang-Chi stories coming up. So this is very, very exciting.
Right. The setup is creating a new world for him. Go for it, Link.
Oh, sorry. No, I think it was serviceable for introducing him to the Marvel universe at large, kind of like making him a mainstay. I think it's easy to talk about being verbose, because I say the same thing about other books, but I don't, maybe for new readers I don't think it was that bad. I think if this was someone, if they were just saw the movie and they want to go read about Shang-Chi, like I think this is a good introduction, because if they just really want to put, we read the whole universe. Maybe one person just wants to read about that character, and like that book sets up Shang-Chi with his own mythos and all these new characters. So if they just want to follow him, that series, they can do that. So I think that's a success in that aspect.
Right. I completely agree, and this is another thing. Like, it was a really, really cool thing happened in my shop yesterday. Like, it was. I truly believe with comics, like it's a big thing for me for someone to see themselves in the characters. That's what I did growing up. But like, it's a lot easier for like white guy to see myself in comics, right? And so like, these three like little kids came in, and they were like Asian descent, and like they were very excited to find some Shang-Chi books, and they're like, oh, he's very excited. And I could tell like they were excited because they could see themselves in a hero of prominence. Right. This hero means something now. He's not a side character. He's not just someone in the background.
He's cool. Yeah,
main character. And they were like crazy excited about it. I was like, yes, thank you. There's just these kids excited about some Shang-Chi, and I just showed them all. I gave them this book and a lot of other Shang-Chi back issues and stuff like that about of the character, and they just left like super excited to read these books. And I think this is super awesome. Like, that's been a big thing for me to get into comics like this. So I think that's
right. Huge. That's the biggest strength of this book, is kind of creating that culture for this character, for this mythos. But I can't help to judge, but there are parts about this book where I just like, for me, it was so
of course.
hard for me to care about the sister at all.
Sure.
She started as a prick. She ended as a prick, and she's my friend. But like, I felt like the sister itself is just not an interesting character at all. Like, all the other characters were fun, and I would like to get to know them more. Maybe if this was the thing about what Marvel's doing with Shang-Chi is they're not giving it ongoing. I guess I wanted to set this up in a mini and then go into the ongoing. I feel like this should have been the ongoing.
Sure.
Give it more breathing room, please. Give us more breathing room. Because the art was phenomenal, and it just, everything felt so compact. Sure. It's like you're reading this and it's like, oh, I forgot about this part. I forgot when you're dealing with a new character, or especially with like the way that Shang-Chi is being told in this story. I can't help but to kind of tie it to Nightwing and how Tom Taylor's treating Nightwing almost like a brand new character, and how it's still taking stuff like from the classic Nightwing tales, like a Batgirl relationship, Blockbuster, but it's kind of building. To me, this is kind of like, okay, we're retconning. We're not really building with it, though. We're retconning, but
there's not much to build from to begin with. Not to say he doesn't have that much lore, but when he's been playing such a side character for the last few years, Nightwing's he's an A-lister, like he's they don't really have to build anything.
That's.
I think this was a perfect primer for new readers. I think it's easy to I mean, it's serviceable for experienced readers as well. It's not the best, but
No,
you know,
you can always be
you gotta-
critical of the book. Yeah, it's
right. Yeah.
Right. And that's the beauty of comics. Like I enjoyed this book. I really did. I really did enjoy it. However, to me, it I know there's gonna be something down the road where I'm gonna be more excited about. I appreciate the where this story is putting Shang-Chi. However, some parts along the ride I just was not with.
Totally. That's totally valid.
Yeah.
I would still recommend it because you'll totally like it. Most people
Yeah.
think it. And it's the end goal that really matters that I think is more exciting and invigorating for the character and just comic fans in general. That makes this a must read.
Yeah.
I want more magic.
Sure. I think we'll start seeing a lot of that stuff. I think this book sets up maybe not everything we want in a really good Shang-Chi story, but I think it sets up the essentials about who he is, how badass he is, and his issues.
Language.
Oh, sorry. And how awesome he is moving forward. Like not only his martial arts, but his family dynamic. So that those key points, I think, are what they needed to set up in this book. And going forward, we're going to get those. I have a lot of hope. The big.
Right. That's really it for this little segment. If you guys want to leave a comment of your thoughts on this book, you are way more than welcome to. We highly encourage you. Remember, hit that like button. Also, let us know if there's a book that you want to see on Archives or who you want to see on Archives, because the cast changes. That's just the beauty of this show. You get a bunch of different cool people in ComixKings. It's the beauty of the brand. We also did Daredevil, which came out already with our friend Brian. Again, everything will be in the description below. The next book we are going to do, I think we're going to do a DC book next. I have my heart set on Death Metal or Joker War, but we'll see, or 3 Jokers, but we'll see what the rest of the gang has in mind. But anyway, you guys, make sure you guys also follow these guys on their social medias. That'll be in the description as well. And we just had an interview with Rom V a few days ago, so make sure you guys catch that in the rewind. If you want to see our weekly wrap-up review show with me and Bryce, Hillbilly Comics, that'll be every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is a fun show where we just talk about the books we read this week. And on Wednesdays now, you're going to see a lot more of my friend Stefan, because we are going to be kind of revamping Christ on Infinite Rants. It's going to be the same format, talking about comic book topics, and it's going to be a lot of fun, part of Whiplash Wednesday. So with the PCP Army, Bad Batch, all of their links will be in the description below as well. So make sure you sub up to them.
Excited.
We are going to get going. You're going to see more of Missing Link, and he's going to come out of his shell, and I'm super excited for all of that. Slowly but surely. We're going to get fun Mr. Missing Link. But anyway, you guys, take care. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Have a good one. Read some more Shang-Chi.